Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Ergo from New Era. This video has been requested numerous amounts of times, so today what I'm doing is a really in-depth melody tutorial. Just the little things that I do to make my melodies the way that they are. Almost music theory, but I'd rather not call it that because it's just a whole different boat. So first off, I usually like to make my patterns 8 bars. So if you count them out, there's 8 full bars right there. Some people make 4. But I like to go 8 just because it has a more full feel to it. So just for example, I have this grand piano open. That's just what I'm going to be using today. Alright, so the first thing I want to show you guys is how to open up a scale. So what you can do right here, if you see, I have an E scale open, E minor. It's got all the highlighted notes for an E minor scale. Now how you set that up is you go into this little drop down right here, you go to helpers, you go to scale highlighting. So first off, a minor natural and aeolian, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but that's just basically a minor scale. There's other scales like minor harmonic. I know you can go in a major scale. Any scale you want basically is right here. And then after you choose your scale, you can choose what key you want. So each key is going to be the same scale. It's just a matter of how high or low you want the pitch of that scale to be. So I have an E open right here, and now we're just gonna go a little bit more in depth. Alright, so right now I'm gonna show you guys how to make chords, basically just basic chord structure. So the bottom note of your chord is called the root note. That's just what it's called. So basically what you do is, if you have your root note and you skip a note in the scale, place one there, skip another one, place one there, that is just called the regular triad chord. If you play that, that's a triad chord in the scale that you have open. Alright, so another topic is the concept of thirds, fifths, and sevenths. So I'm not sure what it's called, but this would be the 1, the 2, 3. So if you make a chord where it's just the first and the third, it's gonna be right there. If you add a fifth to it, right there. But if you're gonna go crazy and add a seventh, it's a whole different vibe. You can add a ninth if you're really wild, I don't know. It just depends on how you want the chord to sound and the voicing. On the topic of voicing, you can do things like transposing. Transposing is basically moving notes up or down an octave to change the voicing. So if we move this up, it's the same note as this, but it's a whole different sound. And it just gives a little bit more emotion to it, in my opinion. Alright, so that was kind of chord structure and just little things. Right now I'm going to go in depth a little more to full melody structure, and we're going to start with bass notes. Alright, so like I said, the root note is kind of the bass note of your chord, but what you can do to kind of add depth is add a second layer of that root note down to the bottom, just to make it a deeper sound. So that just gives a lot more emotion too. And that's kind of how I start all my melodies. I don't start by making chords. I start with making a bass line. A really popular bass pattern is this one right here, that one, and that one. And if we do our method before of the chord structure, skip one, just keep skipping them to create triads. We're gonna have a melody basically. And then if we go ahead and add these bass notes to the bottom, then it's just gonna give a whole deeper feel to it. And if we transpose these thirds like I was talking about before, that's a nice sounding melody right there, just by showing you an example. Alright, so after we have basic chord structure with bass notes, another thing we do is add a top melody. So just going by the scale, you can go out of the scale, but that's only in certain situations. I don't really recommend doing it until you get really comfortable with melody making. So if we go ahead and add some notes right here, I'm gonna make them a little bit shorter just so we can add more, but So right there I kind of left gaps here and there to add more rhythm, but I'm just staying in the scale, making little notes here and there to add melody basically. So this is our harmony and that is melody, just single notes. And then what I'm gonna do here is called a grace note. Just kind of it helps with the transition from one note to another. So say I wanted to go up here, but it's just like it's just kind of an awkward transition right there if you're here. So what I'm gonna do, what I like for my grace notes is 1/6 beat on this snapper here, 1/6, and then we go one note under that from the scale, and then drag it, Control L to legato it, so it basically goes onto that note right there. And if we listen, that sounds pretty nice. And even if we move this down like an octave. And the last thing I'm gonna cover, I kind of already talked about it, but basically being your range of frequencies. So if we go into our master and open up an EQ right here, basically what we're gonna see is all the frequencies that are being played by our melody. And as you can see, a piano it's mainly a mid-range based sound. It's a string, so it's a mid-range. So that's where our main sound is. And by adding these bass notes right here, so say we don't have these bass notes, if you can see, this low range is a whole lot less than we had before. But if we go back here and increase these velocities so we can hear it again, we're gonna see that the bass notes are filled out, and that's just adding more dynamic range to our melody. The last thing would be adding some highs, but the top melody that we had before added some highs, but it's good to add like bells or accents or vocals like that. Those are just high range frequencies to fill out the high range in your melody. It's good to kind of fill out the whole spectrum in certain parts to just add more emotion and feeling to your melodies, and it sounds good to the listener. So yeah guys, that was just kind of a basic melody structure, chord structure tutorial for you guys. I just seen a lot of comments asking for it and DM, so I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys can take something out of this video. If I left anything out or you are still questioning anything, leave a comment or shoot me a DM at Ergo on Instagram. Make sure to follow our Instagram account at One New Era, and make sure to subscribe to this channel. We got videos going up pretty much every day. So yeah, like this video, leave a comment on what you guys next or what you learned from this video, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.